Here I am, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the BBC Spews Live. It's the 15th of November. God bless the Orange Oracle embarking on this marvellous crusade to destroy the world's worst taxpayer-funded news organisation. Get in. God bless him. The Orange Oracle. God, he's a marvellous chap, isn't he? This is funny. Let's have a quick listen to what he said. I was pissing myself laughing. He said, I have to. It's for the good of Western civilization. Hang on, let me blow it up a bit. We're going to see the great man in Technicolor glory.
What BBC did, nobody would even think a thing like that was done. They actually changed the words coming out of my mouth.
So the BBC has apologised and retracted the report, but they say they won't
They've apologised.
Compensation.
Well, we'll sue them. We'll sue them for anywhere between $1 billion and $5 billion, probably sometime next week. Well, I think I have to do it. I mean, they've even admitted that they cheated. Not that they couldn't have not done that. They cheated. They changed the words coming out of my mouth. That's worse than what CBS did with Kamala.
Brilliant. Doing us a solid, isn't he? And you know what's funny about it? The sheer volume of out commies, full-blown commie dogs, now calling themselves patriots. It's laugh out loud funny. Absolutely preposterous. How does someone spend their entire career slagging off the UK, constantly dragging it down, slurring and smearing all the people who live there, telling you to take down the England flag while they're putting up Pakistan flags over the town halls and saying, oh, this is just representing other cultures. Yeah, but it's raising the country, the flag of another nation over the town hall of an English city, and they're doing it on purpose. So what are you talking about? It's crazy to me, the thing that can come out and say it with a straight face. Here's a good example. Lewis Goodall, this obnoxious, toxic little weasel, claiming he can, it's interesting to see how many great British patriots are on here begging an American president to bankrupt one of Britain's last remaining truly national institutions. The BBC covered for the men that were gang surprise sexing our children on an industrial scale, and Lewis Goodall, an out Britain-hating, decades-long communist who fronts a show with Emily Maitlis, an out Britain-hating communist rabble-rouser, and they now go, I can't, you're not patriotic if you don't love the BBC. It's far left, Lewis. Why would any patriot fund and support the far left? How thick do you have to be, Lewis? You absolute log. You human sausage. It's the thickest shit I've ever heard in my natch. I can't believe the stuff that comes out of these people's mouths. The hypocrisy staggers me. And then look what he says here. By the way, I've written, I'm not necessarily convinced the BBC should survive. Yeah, because the BBC's only far left and you're an out communist. But I'm far more sure, partly because I'm an actual patriot. Actual patriot. Here you've got, right, an out Britain-hating, self-loathing, sparrow-boned soy boy telling men who fought for the country from Afghanistan and Iraq to the Falklands, who are really patriotic, and they're getting called, what, anti-patriots by an out communist who hates everything about Britain? I mean, think of it this way. If you're going to be a pedant about it, and you say, you don't get to decide what patriotism is, right? It's very simple. Patriotism, if you look at, in fact, let's have a look what the meaning is. Dictionary. Let's have that. Right. Patriotism, we're doing it by the dictionary. I like to use the dictionary just to, get rid of any doubt. Dictionary definition of patriotism is being patriotic and having a devotion and vigorous support for one's country. And interestingly, use a military definition there, a highly decorated officer of unquestionable integrity and patriotism, right? So military men who defend the culture and borders and boundaries and people of the UK. That's why they use military analogies, because, you know, they physically will fight for the country. But the real thing that makes you patriotic is standing for the people of the country, right? And by definition, using the dictionary, by definition, if you support transplanting all of the people who live in a country, the English, for example, the people that make... A country's just a piece of land. It's not the country. It's not the soil. It's the people in it. If you took every single person out of England and transplanted them to an almost empty American state, proper little tiny one, put them in Kansas or something, and all of a sudden there was 60 million English people in Kansas, it wouldn't be like America anymore. It'd be as English as England ever was, wouldn't it? Because the people make the country. And if your ideology is, not only do they say, get out gammons, leave. Who cares if the millionaires are leaving? Get out. They also, in the same sentence almost, say, open the borders and bring in as many Eritreans as you can. Bring in all the Bangladeshis. If you're doing that, you can never, ever, ever claim to be a patriot, because you don't want the country that has always existed in its current form to exist anymore. You can't tell me that you want to throw out all of the gammons and import 20 million Pakistanis and say, I'm a patriot. You're not a patriot. You're the opposite of a patriot. In fact, I'm interested to know what's the exact opposite of a patriot in the dictionary. Let's have a look. Surely then it just says the opposite of patriotism is treachery. Yeah, I don't really know. Anti-patriotism doesn't seem like it does it justice. I think I need to invent a new word for these people, because that's what they are. They're not just treacherous. They're the anti-patriots is what they are. If you want to dismantle England forever and import 50 million men from Africa and the Middle East, you're not a patriot and you never will be, Lewis. So, yeah. Turns out he's talking bollocks. Look at this guy. You can only be a patriot if you support the BBC. No, Lewis, no, you can't. You never get to tell me what a patriot is. In fact, even more funny, have you noticed how all of the Puma trackies have started using, again, I mean, it's what people do, all the stories that have broken in the last few years about them, and they start to call everybody else it. This bloke had a pop at me on, where is it? Let me see if I can find him. Yeah, look at that one. I told Lewis anyway, why would a patriot side with the far left, Lewis? They want our American cousins to liberate us from the woke. We do. The government and the BBC has about 15% support. How's that democracy? It's mental. A bloke who hates the country and has always hated the country is sitting there on telly going, oh yeah, I'll tell you what's patriotic. You hate the country. That's obviously, if you can't tell, I'm talking about Keir Starmer. Ha! Gay! Yeah, him, that fella, the androgynous android, Ukrainian rent boy rammer. That's who I'm on about. It's unbelievable. We can't see you, Matt. The screen is tiny. You know why that is? It must be this thing. Can I change the layout? There, can you see me? No, you still can't. You know why this is? StreamYard updated the UI, and they put a dual streaming function in there. So you can have like horizontal streams. If it looks tiny, that's only on the mobile phone version. The landscape one is if you sat watching it on a desktop. So it says your screen is on its house. That's what it is. I'll have to get rid of it. Hang on. I wonder if I can do it on the back end now. Let me have a look. No, I guess you can't once you've started it. in order for me to get rid of that, I'd have to. You're on a desktop. That's proper weird. All right, I have no idea then. I mean, I suppose. I wonder if I can make it. What about that one? Yeah, because what I'm looking at is a sort of split screen, and there's a vertical one, and there's a desktop one, and I don't know what the crack is. Anyway, oh, you're still tiny. That's just. Hey, hang on. Bosh, there we go. Is that better? Yeah, it's doing them simultaneously. There's a vertical one and a horizontal one. Obviously, I'll have to find out how you don't do both of them, because yeah, it's bollocks. But anyway, let's not get distracted by that. As long as you can hear me, you can. I mean, you know, it's bittersweet being female and listening to my honeyed voice and not being able to look at me. But yeah, there you go. It's unbelievable, this. So for some reason now, this is the tack they're going with. If you don't side with an out communist, you're not a patriot. Yeah, makes loads of sense, that, doesn't it? And then look at this one. Look at this one here. Another good one. They want them to integrate with our culture, but when they do, you have a problem with it. Because this Lee Patriot Hood fella said M&S have gone all woke in the Christmas ads by including people who don't celebrate Christmas. And I was like, look what she's wearing. English women don't put a bin bag over their head. So when I said wearing snack bar dress equals hasn't integrated, it's not rocket science, is it? My mate, I always mention him, my Pakistan Indian mate Neil used to dress like me. He had a Turtles t-shirt on when we were 8. He didn't go to school looking like a Bakia Bazzi, did he? Because that's how you know you've integrated. Very simple. So the fact that they're dressed that way means they haven't integrated. It's not complicated, is it? And then this is the best bit. Arguing with the Puma trackie. Look at this. Integration means white. This is the deranged scribblings these people come out. Integration means whiteness. Let's be honest. Our women could be naked and I could be beardless. Necking back, pint, he obviously means there. And leave my religion, but it's still not enough. Yeah, well, you have got a big beard and you don't knock back pints. So obviously I responded, of course it means whiteness. Of course it does. I said, obviously I had to put a few pejoratives in there because that's the way I roll. I said, if I move to Saudi Arabia, integration would mean traditional dress and beards and praying, wouldn't it? This is so obvious. Like, what do you mean? If I was in Saudi Arabia walking around like this with a Vans t-shirt on and my missus is wearing a mini skirt or a pair of them cut off jeans the birds wear out here, then they haven't integrated, have they? I mean, this is literally the most obvious thing you can say, but these people have got, well, the low IQ because the parents are related, obviously. Obviously. This isn't, again, it's not rocket science, is it? Stu, screen's on its ass. Yeah, again, sorry, I'll sort that next stream. I'll have to play with the settings. Bootneck, how do I contact you as a young borough lad who wants to come on one of your streams? Easy, you can come on one of my streams, mate. Send an email to or DM me on Twitter. Most people get hold of me on there. DM me on Twitter or email mattyrm@gmail.com. Easy. And yeah, you can come on. It's fine. So that's great, innit? I was like, anyway, to sum up, you invaded the West, integrate or do one. Or don't. Makes no bones to me. When it kicks off, we win. I don't care. As I've said, in 15 years, I've gone from wet liberal, Obama, Hillary, Sanders, Trumpy Bear. So I'm basically an accelerationist at this point because I've accepted the fact that we've lost. We've lost. This doesn't get fixed until the masses wake up. And the masses don't wake up until it gets much, much, much worse. So I genuinely don't care at this point. Doesn't bother me if he brings 1 million of his mates over, because the more diddling they get down to, the more pissed off the locals get. And even if it was 50-50, we'd still win. So it doesn't matter, does it? And it's not going to get to 50-50. They'll be outnumbered 5-1 when it boots off. And we could be outnumbered 5-1 and we'd still won. Speaking as a man who's physically had altercations with these relative rattlers, even if we were outnumbered, we'd win. Because they are scrawny and sparrow-boned from a nation that primary culinary delicacies are rice and piss. So so it doesn't matter to me how many they bring over. Doesn't bother me. Which is why I don't get angry too much when I'm arguing with them. And obviously I'm far wittier than them because my parents weren't related. And that's why it's so easy to torture them. Look, he responded. Sorry, mate, I'm here to dilute that whiteness. Your granddad didn't do shit. Your dad didn't do shit. And neither will you. You little... And then he, in a stunning twist of fate, calls me a surprise sex enthusiast. I love that. Anyways, I said, ha ha, a snack bar enthusiast calling any other group a surprise sex pest after the last 2 decades is laugh out loud funny. You boys make feral Somalians look positively civilized. Are you going to call me an inbred? Are you going to call me inbred next? I'd love that. And he's like, oh, we'll fill it you. Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah. You can see why he's getting pissed off because then I also told him, well, I'm not just going to waste your time this, but basically I tortured him. That's why he's pissed and I'm not. And I was like, I'll tell you what, mate. What you should do next is, why don't you tell me that the man I worship most in the world married and shagged a 10-year-old? Like, the fact of the matter is, you can't lose an argument to these people, right? Because the fact that they're living in the West proves that you've already won. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why it's almost like picking on the disabled kid, arguing with them, because you can't win when you moved. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd never argue with an American and go, oh, Britain's way better than America at everything. Because then they could just go, well, why are you here then? And I go, oh yeah, I'm really going to witty response to that. So when you get some relative rattler having a pop, you just go, yeah, but you agree with me because you moved here. It'd be one thing arguing with a Pakistani nationalist who's living in Pakistan, wouldn't it? At least then he'd have a point to make. If he was a Pakistani nationalist living in Pakistan going, oh, Pakistan's the greatest country in the world, then you'd have to start arguing. It'd be quite difficult. You'd have to start doing, a bit of homework. You'd have to point at like GDP or world-changing inventions. Or no, well, it wouldn't be that difficult because he's from a nation that's done nothing. But at least you'd have to put some effort in. But when he's moved and all of his mates have moved, well, then there's no argument, is there? Because I was like, hang on, you agree with me. That's why you're not in the hills, the foothills of the Hindu Kush, you plugger of people with the exact same DNA as you. So anyway, I'll take that argument up later. But there's you can't lose to these people. It's impossible. By definition, they move to your country because they know it's better. So there we go. Easy. What other good stories have we done? I'm on my VPN, so we can go back to Trumpy Bear. Let's see how much money he's going to try and take off him, shall we? Trumpy Bear said he will take legal action against the BBC over how his speech was edited by Panorama after the corporation apologised but refused to compensate him. Oh, we apologise. What's the matter with you? Saying that as well, the reporter's like, oh, we said sorry. Who cares if you said sorry? Words are wind. When he was saying, oh yeah, what you doing suing the BBC? They said sorry. I was like, words are wind. What do you mean they said sorry? The only thing these people understand is force. And obviously, like Heinlein says when he's talking about voting, fleecing someone of all the cash is a form of force, isn't it? Wind, talking is just air. It's pointless. Doesn't mean anything. But taking all the money off them is you exerting pressure on them, like physical manifestation of your will is to steal all your money off them, which is why I say it's a form of force. Like mugging someone is a form of force, isn't it? Well, this right here is going to be the best mugging ever because he's not going to take a 20 grand Rolex off them, he's going to take 6 or 7 or 8 figures off them. So that's what it is. So the idea that this moron journalist at the start said, "Oh, I can't believe you're suing them after they apologise." Words are wind. Words are wind, especially human beings, the most dishonest liars. I mean, we're the masters. We invented lying as a species, and our politicians and political class have perfected it. They're the ones who say, like, look at Keir Starmer. Oh, no, sorry. Look at the Prime Minister.
Ha! Gay!
He says one thing, he does the exact opposite. Tony Blair was a master of it. Saying one thing, do the exact opposite. So I'm sorry, but we don't have the luxury, like this is a pleasant, civilised place we live in, to be taking people's word for it. What do you mean? We can't take your word for it. Apologies are worthless, because you can say sorry and then the same day go and fake edit another clip, can't you? So don't tell me that you're sorry. Words are worthless to me. Total nonsense. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Pay for your self-loathing propaganda. That's what I'm saying. The idea that you have to like let them off the hook because they said sorry is preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. This is what we've got. Lunacy. No, they need to be punished. We need retribution against the BBC, and we do that by suing them into oblivion, and then, just as the cherry on top, bulldoze it, or sell it to pay your debts. Sell Broadcasting House to a contractor, and they can make it into a multi-storey car park in the middle of London. That'll help. We need more car parking in spaces in London, and at least then it'd serve a purpose that isn't, demoralising and destroying the country. So genuinely, the idea that anyone can call me, the idea that anyone can call you or me or anyone not patriotic for not supporting a far left media organisation is laugh out loud funny. It's as funny as a Puma trackie calling me a cousin shagger, isn't it? It's hilarious. It's not something we do. So they call everybody else it because that's what they are. It's become a mantra. It's so common, isn't it? Whatever they are, whatever they accuse you of. And that's why now, if you get into an argument with a Puma, they go, "Oh, he's a pedo, isn't he? He's pedo, isn't he?" Yeah, of course we are. But this is what I'm saying. It's flailing ineffectually. Because if you're surrounded by a group of people from all around the world, you could be surrounded by tourists, locals, Americans, Indians, Somalis, everyone. If you get in an argument with a Puma trackie and he calls you, "Oh, you mum and dad are cousins, innit? Innit? You're all kiddie fiddlers, innit?" Everyone in the room knows why he's saying it. And everybody in your room knows the truth of it. And they know that culturally, British people don't marry the first cousins. And we definitely don't groom and diddle children. Or if we do, we don't. The people that do that have to hide. They're like 1 in 1,000. And they're so vilified by the British people that common criminals, bank robbers and thugs will try and hurt them in prison because they get brownie points for it. Because we don't like common criminals, but if you shiv a full-blown kiddie fiddler, then you'll get brownie points from the general public. So in our culture, we despise them so much, they have to hide. They have to close down like the entire wing of the prison when they want to go anywhere. And they have to keep to the shadows. But the savages who run the kebab shops, the entire community knows about it. The sisters and wives drive them to party. He joins in. Hitler in an argument in the street because the shame burns them. It burns them like the fire of 1,000 suns. You can see the hatred on the face. I had an argument with one, I don't know, it'll be a few years ago now. And the first thing you do is just call them a diddler. And you can see it burn them the second they say it. Whereas it's like, I've told you this before, it's like when they try and call you a racial slur when you're white, isn't it? When one of the natives calls you, I don't know, can you say white slurs? You probably can. Probably can't you? The double standards on YouTube. But they'll try and do me, so I won't repeat it. But if one of them calls you the name that, the noise it makes when Indiana Jones lashes someone with his whip, if they call you that, they know, you know, and everybody in the room knows that it's not offensive. It doesn't bother you. It's just like water off a duck's back. But when you call them loud and proud in front of everyone that can hear it, yeah, but your parents are first cousins, and you drove your uncle to your cousin's house so you could all have a jump on a 12-year-old, and we know it's true, and you know it's true, and that's why when I laugh and go, ha, 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 and call you it, I can see it twist your face in rage, and I love it, and I tent-peg my shorts a little bit, because we both know who's won this argument, and it ain't you, my barbaric, pot-bellied, dwarven chum. No, it's not you, mate. That's what happens when you're inherently illogical because you read the scribblings of an epileptic illiterate and quote them as fact. You can't ever beat me in an argument because the words logic and puma trachea will never belong in the same sentence. You hang off every word in a 1,600-year-old, no, 1,400, isn't it? I know the exact date because of my snack bar merchandise. 610 AD. Right, that's 1,400 years old or thereabouts. You hang off every word written in a 1,400-year-old book back when we thought the earth was flat. And you think you can beat me in an argument? Really? That's like Diane Abacus thinking she's going to beat Carol Vorderman in a maths exam. It's never going to happen. So the more they have a pop, the more I love it. The more I love it, because everyone that can read it is sat there pissing themselves. They know, we know who's won the argument before you even start talking, knobhead. What a tangled web we weave when we first practice to deceive. Enjoy paying up, BBC. Yeah, indeed. Crush the BBC, as far as I'm concerned. BBC is a despicable organisation. Again, I'm sick of seeing Hugh Edwards' rusty bullet hole. I'm sick of seeing BBC presenters vile texts, diddler evidence. They are vile people. The BBC, they can't talk down to anyone. As I said today, in fact, I'll show you the tweet. The BBC don't get to judge you. You're their betters. I've told you this loads of times. Never ever let anybody talk down to you. I got a lot of engagement on this post, look, because this is unbelievable. Listen to this. I'm not going to play the whole thing. In fact, I'm not going to play them all. His voice annoys me because, like all walkie-talkies, he's got a speech impediment. Chris Packham said, the BBC serves democracy across the world. It's unbelievable. If you're an employee, past or present, a contractor or a freelancer, if you've worked for the BBC in any capacity, please sign my open letter. Okay, right. Now, just pop quiz. Do you think that open letter will be worth anything? When he's self-avowedly said in his own post that the only people he wants to sign it are the people who've took money off them. Think of how stupid you have to be for that open letter to be worth anything. It'd have to be like, if you're a pillar of society who isn't affiliated with the BBC but thinks it does a good job, sign the open letter. But this yammering, stammering, wispy, lispy, speech impediment protester, I'm a protester, he thinks that's clever. Why waste your time? What's the point in that letter? That's like saying, I've marked my own homework. Please agree it's the best homework ever. No, it doesn't work like that. You absolute lemon. So obviously, I had to rip the piss out of him, and I got some good engagement. Look. Ask the people that get paid by the BBC. They will be impartial. Are you totally brain dead, Christopher? It's self-evident, isn't it? You don't even need... Have you seen the shitty post? Of course he is. Yes, he is. Don't swear to me. Might kick off. I'll pray for the day. Incredible, isn't it? Self-awareness, vacuum. Yeah, not a single negative response to that highly engaged post. Because, again, the out communists are trying to defend the BBC. Donald Trump has the right to this. The British people support Trump, not the BBC. If you were to take a poll of everyone in the UK, I honestly think it'd be like 70-30 at this point, 80-20. Because the BBC is despised by the people. Even, basically, anyone populist hates the BBC. That's why Goodall doesn't like it very much. Because they're just the establishment creatures. And as I've said to you many times, I've got more time for people like George Galloway that I disagree with all the time, or even Owen Jones, because at least they pick a side. These creatures, these swamp creatures like Starmlin, they stand for nothing. They stand for nothing. And that's the BBC. Creatures. It's why the people despise them. Think about it. The far left hate the BBC now because the BBC are going, oh, hang on. Starmlin's told us we have to be a little bit more pro-Israel, also we'll just do that. So the full-blown anti-Semites, the ones that despise them more than anything, obviously the snack bar regulars, like Zara Sultana, they've turned against the BBC. They hate the BBC, don't they? And they hate the government, so they go and make their own party. That's what your party is. So what I'm saying to you is, even the populist left despise them. So by definition, the British government and the BBC is tyrannical at this point. It shouldn't exist. It's stealing money off poor people. The British government, what's the percentage now? Someone will know. I haven't checked the polls for at least a week or two. But as far as I'm aware, the polling at about 15% popularity. 15%. It's not even close to being a majority. It's not even a minority. It's infinitesimal. If only 15% of the population support Starmer and the BBC, then by definition, they are authoritarian, aren't they? Because they haven't even got a sliver of general support. It's very obvious. The BBC is stealing money off poor people. And have you noticed they keep going on about, inequality? Matthew Stadlen and the likes of them, because he's another creature. No one talks about the fact that there's no... I mean, maybe they've changed it. Maybe they've changed it, lads. Does anyone know? Do they charge you less for a TV licence based off how much income you get? Like, if you only make 20 grand a year because you work part-time and you've got 2 kids, do you pay less for a TV licence? Do you? Because if you don't, that sounds a bit anti-poor person to me. That sounds like, but no one's complained about that. Yes or no? That's a resounding no. Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? The likes of Matthew Stadlen are saying, oh no, we've got to think about the poor, And then they're defending the BBC charging you. And how much is a TV licence now? Let's have a look at that. How much is UK TV licence? 2025. I don't even know. I lived there for 10 years. Oh my God. 174. There you go. So think that this is what I'm saying. And you only get a discount if you're over 75. So again, it's the hypocrisy. They're like, oh yeah, well, think about the poor. You shouldn't need to pay for a TV licence. Is there anything more anti-working class? If you're rich and well-to-do, if you're middle class, you can go to a nice restaurant on a Saturday night. You can go out on the town. You can spend a few £100 because you need at least £100 to go out on the lash now, don't you? When I was a lad, because they've robbed us for the last 30 years. When I was a lad, you could go out on the lash with a tenner. You went to Wetherspoons, it was like 89 pence for a pint of brew, right? And if you got the bus downtown, you could go out on a lash with a tenner. Now, what are you going to do? It's like £5 for a pint. So, if you're really poor, you watch telly, don't you? If you're really poor in England, Saturday night, you're watching telly, can't afford to go out, can't afford to go to a restaurant, but you know what you can afford to do? God bless you. You can afford to sit in your house, watch the telly, and drink a few bottles of 2020. Cheap night out. Sit in, drink the cheapest piss you can find, watch the telly. Well, I'm sorry, if you're proper skint, the BBC will take another £174.50 off your year for watching the telly. It shouldn't exist. And I've been saying this for 10, 15 years, but it's before any of this scandal. On the face of it, it shouldn't exist. It doesn't exist in nearly every other country because it's ludicrous. The BBC should be forced to compete. If they want to exist, make them compete. Do what everybody else does. And then let the poor people watch the TV unmolested without having to give you 175 quid a year. I'm defending the poor people. I'm defending the poor people. I think fat, scruffy chavs who exist on benefits should at least be able to watch the television for free. You thieving, no good bourgeois, do-gooder, lefty socialist shitbags. As usual, the right winger is looking after the poor people and the lefty shitbags are stomping on their windpipes. As usual. So nothing changes, does it? Amazing. Anyway, that's all I'll say on the BBC. I've had enough of that. Let's find another good story. There must be some good stuff. There must be some good stuff on Twitter from the last few days. Let's have a quick look. Because I always retweet funny stuff on Twitter. Twitter's dead good for news now, isn't it? Oh, here we go. Nick Buckley shared a good one. Another foreigner was a real danger to women. Why are we attracting so many perverts? I don't know. Maybe we haven't got a vetting process, Nicholas. Might be that. We're perceived to be so weak as a nation, we're no longer feared, and our vulnerable suffer. 100%. Incredibly dangerous sex offenders. Chow Zhu. As police, I'm sure that was the bad guy in a Jackie Chan film I watched. No, where they go. Chow Zhu. As police say, there could be hundreds more victims. At least 24 offences, including, and look at the clip of him. Absolutely rats. But the thing is, I thought that the reason I saved this one is I wanted to talk about this one because I thought maybe Americans might not have heard about it. Here he is, Reynard Singer. I want to bring this fella up because honestly, it's hilarious. Like, just more of our glorious immigrant story. So, Americans, young people, new viewers, you might not have ever heard of Reynard Singer. This paragon of the English immigrant experience knows no bounds, and I don't want it to get forgotten about. So, there's 850 people watching. Let's bring him back to the fore of public consciousness, shall we? Reynard Singer, right? He's been in more men than Weetabix. He's been in more Englishmen than Ready Breck, this fella. Right? Warning, this piece contains accounts of foreign immigrant diddlers. Reynard Singer is thought to be the UK's most prolific surprise sex enthusiast ever. For years, until he was caught in 2017, he preyed on young men enjoying a night out. Princess Street in the heart of Manchester's city centre is rarely quiet. Yes, and if you went down there having a pint in between 2010 and 2017, he's probably been in you. Yeah. A 36-year-old postgraduate student. Why don't they talk about where he's from? I don't talk about where he's from. Tell me where he's from. Drugging, diddling, at least 48 men. But police believe they're among at least 190 victims. At least, there's the operative word there, at least 190 men have had their shitbox bounced on by this foreign man, foreign druggie. Still haven't told you where he's from. Is there nothing? Nah. Flamboyant academic. Good Samaritan. Coaxing men back to his flat. Yeah, what a nice fella. It'll be the same, won't it? Whenever anyone complained about him to the police, he'll have went, oh yeah. Look, there's a good one. One was waiting for his girlfriend outside Fifth Avenue nightclub when he was approached by a small Asian guy who seemed harmless. Not harmless when he's pumping you full of horse tranquilizer, though, is he? The man was invited back to Singer's flat to wait for his girlfriend, but recalled nothing after being given a shot of a clear liquid to drink. Another man described him as being approached by an Asian gentleman who said he had a vague recollection of explaining that his phone was dead. I think I recall a conversation on the lines of, you can come inside and charge your phone and we can have a chat. Yeah, chat. And then he used to drug them up, throw them on his filthy, swampy mattress there and have his filthy, degenerate foreign way with them. And yeah, they haven't mentioned it once. If it hasn't dawned on you, we imported him. Oh, there we are. Indonesian family. Here we go. Came from Jakarta. So this is the glorious immigrant story of the United Kingdom. The most prolific homosexual diddler ever is from Jakarta. And before that, we had... Oh, no, that was me finding him. Where is he? I'd love to know what... This is the type of shit I Google, though. Imagine what... If Google are looking into my stuff, they're like, whoa, this guy's pretty weird. He's into some strange stuff, isn't he? This is the type of migrant we get. So, yeah, another one. He's probably rattled dozens of women, dozens. They say they only know about 24, but there could be hundreds. Again, the glorious migrant story. So how many more examples do we need? Like, has it not sunk in yet? If you haven't changed your mind and switched from left to right in the last 10 years, I've got nothing else to tell you, but you are irrevocably stupid. You're incapable of processing information in your brain case. Right, that's what you are. You are thick as whale spunk. Change your mind. I did. I was like, yeah, Bernie, yeah. And then I went, hang on. All the kiddie fiddlers, all the sex fiends, all the perverts and degenerates, all the exploding pop concerts, the decapitations in the middle of the street, all the kebab merchants, conker deep in the little girls, they're all foreign. How can you not be going, maybe we've got an immigration problem, when every time you read against the most successful, degenerate fiends, they're always foreign. They're always foreign. They'll find one bloke, and they'll show you a photo of him, some white guy, and he's got a weird sweater on from the 1970s. Looks like he's cut his own hair with a pair of shears, and he's like, some mutant. And it's always like, oh, this fella was wanking outside the library. Well, that's not that big of a deal. By comparison, the white sex offenders are like rank amateurs. We've got weirdos. We've got occasional weirdos. They've got predatory foreign sex offenders who come over and do it in the UK on purpose because they know we're a soft touch. It's not a coincidence that he wasn't doing this in China and the other fella wasn't doing it in Jakarta. It's not a coincidence. Because if he was doing it in Jakarta, the first bloke that reported it, he would have got his head caved in with a brick. Wouldn't he? Jakarta, Indonesia, where they'll lash you within an inch of your life. The first bloke that reported him, they would have kicked his front door off its hinges, went through all his devices and caught him. But because he was in England, this sack of shit, he got away with it for years. For years. And they said they reckon he ragged hundreds of blokes because we just let him get away with it. That's why. So Nick Buckley's completely right. That's why they do it here. It's not a coincidence that the man who ragged at least 200 blokes is foreign and was doing it in England because we're soft. Jakarta, he'd have got stoned to death within a week. It's unbelievable. They turn a blind eye all the time, which takes me to, we have to talk about the CCTV thing as well, don't we? Because some morons, even some of you lot, are going to be sitting there like the Telegraph writer that I told you about, going, oh, it's only a good thing. It's only a good thing. It can only stop crime. So we should really support more CCTV cameras. Do them stories not prove it to you? They don't try. The CCTV cameras all over in Manchester, and they didn't do anything about him pumping 200 blokes because they don't give a shit. Think about it. I guarantee some of you fuckwits, there'll be someone in the comments who's like, oh, no, we definitely should have more CCTV. It'll stop crime. I'm right-wing, so I'm against crime. It won't stop crime. It won't stop crime. They don't care about you. They want to spy on you. Honestly, if you think it'll stop crime, read the papers. The diddler gangs operated with impunity for 25 years, and the coppers helped them, and the politicians helped them, and the BBC helped them, and there's CCTV cameras everywhere. So think about it before you support it. They want the CCTV cameras so they can fine you if you drop a dog end on the floor. If I flicked a tab, Middlesbrough, 700 CCTV cameras, if I flicked a tab end on the floor, they'd have me. They'd go, £80 fine. Or my dog snapped one off and I didn't pick it up, they'd have me. Whoa, copper would be there straight away. In fact, I remember when we were kids getting caught because of all the CCTV cameras. It was about 20. My mate Moz, we were just pissed, larking about, staggered out of the pub, mortaled. He picked up a pallet and threw it at me, and I dodged, and it smashed a drain pipe off the wall. I'm not making this up, I've just remembered it. And we started laughing, and then he pulled the end up and chased with it for a bit. And then about 5 minutes later, we're walking up Linthorpe Road, and the coppers pull over in a meat wagon, and they all jumped out, grabbed me and him, and then he gets on his little earpiece, and I could hear it, and they basically said, he can be done for criminal damage, that one you can let go. And I got sent on my way. The cop was like, you do one, he's getting nicked. And they arrested him. So we were drunk and he smashed a drain pipe off a wall and he got done for it because there's CCTV cameras everywhere. So they'll do you if you're pissed and you stagger into a kebab shop window and crack it. They'll do you. They'll do you for flicking tabs about. They'll do you for not picking up your dog shit. They'll do you for littering. But they won't do anything about... They'll take one look at the camera, see that the bloke doing the surprise sex in an alley is from Somalia or wherever. Basically, if they look on the camera and all they can see is the woman vibrating on the floor and two eyeballs and a set of teeth floating in the shadows, they'll go, nothing to see here, governor, and turn the camera off. Yeah, if it's a pasty ginger doing the diddling, then they might do something about it. But if the bloke looks like Idris Elba, he ain't getting nicked for it. So don't tell me you're supporting CCTV, because if you're supporting CCTV, you're thick as shit. It's for you, not for them. And the last 25 years has proved it. The floating ping pong balls and the big shiny white crescent floating in the alley whilst a woman gets rattled on the floor, he's not getting arrested. So don't tell me you want more CCTV. You're stupid. It's not for crime. It's not for crime. It's for white people. All right? Easy. Here's a good bit of footage I want to show you. And all this shouting's hurting my throat so I can have a drink for 2 minutes. This is amazing. This is what's coming. The people are starting to get raged. So this is what's coming. Lawrence Fox shared this. Look how good this is. The people are just filled with hatred and derision and contempt, sneering contempt for the scum that lorded over us. This is from, it's Rachel Millward, who's the deputy leader of the Green Party, because she's been caught being a hypocrite as usual, talking about immigrants for thee, but not for me. Listen to this. Listen to the derision from the crowd.
OK, one final question, if we may. Thank you.
So just to conclude that one, then, it just appears to every person in this room that you're just running down the clock and not giving us a chance. So my second question is actually directly to you, Rachel. It does actually go to you as well, James. You did a video the other day, Rachel, saying that all of these people, doctors and engineers and surgeons that are coming here, and we should give them the right to work. Now, firstly, engineers, doctors and surgeons do not come from France on a dinghy and throw their medical certificate overboard. It's very clear to me that you really don't understand the small boat crisis. So therefore, I'm going to say, why don't you resign, both of you, and make way for someone who understands the crisis. It's
Okay.
not a joke, Rachel. I'm serious. You do not have the capabilities to do this. You don't understand the small boat crisis. Step down, both of you, and let someone else take lead and actually get us what we need and represent this community, because you don't.
So, I appreciate...
Brilliant, that, innit? Brilliant. And she just sat there. She's got nothing to say. She just has to sit there with a shit-eating grin on her face because she's got nothing to say. Again, this is what I keep telling you. It's malevolent and spiteful. They know. They know the public. This is why I'm so full of rage and why you should be. Which is why you should be burning with hatred for them. They know. It's not ignorance. Every single poll since the tail end of the Blair premiership, has been, we want less immigrants. This has been happening since 2003. 22 years we've told them. 22 years we've told them. She's heard us telling them since she was a teenager, since she was 13 or whatever she is, because she's not an old woman. We want less immigrants. We want less. Cameron, less. Clegg, less. I promise we'll get it under control. This is 2013, 2014, 2015. Less immigrant. We hear you loud and clear. We'll get it down to 20,000 a year. We've told them for 25 years and they keep doing it. So ignorance is not an excuse. It's not an excuse. And when the mob gets even angrier, like they're doing there, getting pissed, Bookmark, it's Ayrton Senna. Thanks very much, Bookmark. Cheers for that, mate. When the public starts to get very, very angry, like they're doing there, starting to get raucous on, they're starting to raise their voices, yeah, it's going to get worse. And when there's an angry mob fixing to tear them limb from limb like ancient Rome, right? I didn't know it was in the defence. No. You can't say it was ignorance. We told you loud and clear for 25 years. That's why it's in every manifesto. We're going to get sorted immigration. We're going to get sorted immigration. Yeah, of course we are. 25 years. So I'm sorry, I'm not defending them. When the angry mobs form, be like the caveman era, you get like loads of hairy chavs with like T-Rex jawbones wanting to beat them to death with them. I'm not getting in between them. I can't promote this type of stuff, but I can laugh like Nelson, and I will. And I will. I will happily start. I'm not getting in between an angry mob and someone who is purposely and spitefully, with sneering contempt, ruined my nation forever. So, that's all you're getting from me. I'm not interfering, because you can't tell me that you didn't know. You did know. You did it on purpose. You're a hateful, spiteful reactionary. And here's the other mad thing. They call people like you a reactionary. I feel like me and you and everyone watching this stream, I feel like we're like trying to do what the masses say. So by definition, if I'm in lockstep with 70% of the country and you're in lock with 2% of the country, open borders, aren't you the extremist? This is what I don't understand. How can the vast majority of people be the extremists, but the person doing what nobody wants isn't the extremist? Keir Starmer's government's got 15% popularity. Surely they're the extremists. If they're doing the opposite of what 85% of the country want, they're the extremists, and I'm boring and normal and run-of-the-mill, aren't I? Boring, yawn, you're the same as everyone, you. Yeah, I'm milk toast. So, we know who the extremist is. And guess what? It ain't us. Seems to me it's the commies who want to ignore the will of the people for 25 years on the bounce. Seems like they're the extremists. Seems the people that invite in the foreign diddlers, seems like they might be extremists, because nobody really likes them, do they? I'll tell you what, I'll finish on an Irish one, because this made me laugh, right? Oh, actually, there's another good one. There's a few good ones popped up today. I have to show you that one. Look at this one. Ben Smoke. He's like a full-blown, like, LGBTQI T+2 spirit, like, weirdo, degenerate, activist type. It's funny because it seems like it's sinking in. It's just about sinking in, isn't it? And he says, oh, a second MP involved in your party, doubling down and arguing that advocating for segregating trans people from society isn't transphobic. Really shameful. Look at his name. Look at his name. This is what we've been telling them this for ages. The Islamo-communists. He's not left-wing. He's telling you he's left-wing like they did in Iran, so they'll give them power. And when he gets into power, Benjamin, you're taking the fast way down from the multi-storey car park, aren't you? Benjamin, again, who's the extremist? I try to warn them and tell them I don't think anyone should be harming the LGBT community. I think the LGBT community should be left alone to get up to whatever weird shit they're into entirely. I support their right to lube up and daisy chain around the living room in the privacy of their own home. Iqbal doesn't, right? So again, the extremist, he's saying, Benjamin, think about what you're asking for, son. Maybe the most conservative religious zealots on planet Earth with the big book telling them that they have to stone you to death, maybe they're the extremists and I'm boring because everyone agrees with me. But Benjamin won't listen. You can't talk sense to these people. So again, when the obvious happens and they take over and Benjamin takes the quick way down from the 14th floor of the multi-storey car park, don't come crying to me and say, oh, because you never risked life and limb, because you never armed yourself, got tooled up, waded through an angry mob of snack bar regulars, put your life and limb on the line to help Benjamin, you're the extremist. No, all I'm going to do is point and laugh. Iqbal is the extremist because he's the one doing the throwing. And Ben's the extremist because he doesn't have the IQ of a pork pie and he didn't see what everybody else knew was as obvious as the nose on your face, which is that the people he's supporting will hurt him when they have power. So that's the crack. That's the crack, lads. I love that. Anyway, I did respond. Where was it? There you go. That's my response. I said, he's called Iqbal. He's called Iqbal. What did you think he was going to do? Cut the ribbon on a brand new gay bar? It's like, you can't make this stuff. At least they always give me plenty of material. This is what I'm saying. They are inadvertently hilarious. Unending side-splitting hilarity is a gift from the modern left. It's a gift. I treasure it more than anything, Ben, because you are an endless well, a vein to be mined of the stupidest people on planet Earth. I love it. What's another good one? Yeah, look, an out Scottish communist calling Liz Truss treacherous. Liz Truss is incompetent, but she's not treacherous. You're treacherous, George. So that's funny. Another one I've seen is the Irish. I was seeing the Irish having a go. Oh, look at this one. How good's this community note? So this is outright fiction as well, look. Humza said, oh, what have the snack bar boys done for us? Well, we invented algebra. We did this. We invented this. We invented that. The first point I want to make with that is, right, because this is, again, more circular reasoning. First of all, if you're willing to use the royal we for people who lived 1,200 years ago, then surely, this is irrefutable logic, if he wants to take the credit for the actions of an unrelated man who just, like, I don't know, vaguely supports the same ideology as him from 1,200 years ago, then by all accounts, surely the British people have the right, perfectly, to enact furious vengeance and retribution on all of the living, because it's a tiny period of time now, all of the living snack bar regulars who helped the endemic torture of children. That's all I'm saying. Like, they have a go at us for collectivising. If Humza Yousaf, the former Scottish Prime Minister, thinks it's totally acceptable for him and all of his currently living comrades to take all the credit from all the things blokes did 1,200 years ago, then logically it's totally reasonable for them also to take all the blame from the actions of, I'll tell you what, I'll go easy on them. I'll just say like the last 300 years. So Humza is personally responsible, using his logic, for the Barbary pirates, the castration of all them slaves in Turkey, the Manchester Evening bombing, Lee Rigby's decapitation, the Bataclan massacre, the Beslan school massacre, the Madrid train bombing, every single filthy stoning of some innocent woman, widow burning. I'm just taking the last 300 years. And he's using like 1,400. So I'm being much, much more reasonable and less fanatical and dogmatic than Humza is, aren't I? Yeah, it's fair. So you can have whatever you lads invented. We did this, we did that. Okay, so we also helped the kiddie fiddlers above the kebab shops. Yeah, fair. Seems fair. Seems logical to me, Humza. Also, community note, many falsities. Look, algebra, Babylonians before it. Coffee, Ethiopia, 600 years before it. Mechanical clocks, Europeans. Optics, Euclid, before it. University of Bologna is the oldest university. Unlucky, Humza. So everything in your lying post, because you're a lying, four-flushing, scum-sucking sack of rats, a religious fanatic, a close relative of the kiddie fiddlers, and a worshipper of the epileptic potbelly desert midget plagiarist, everything he says is a lie. And it might not be his fault because his parents are related, so he's got a low IQ, but it still doesn't alter the fact that using his own logic, if he can try and take credit for things that snack bar boys did 1,500 years ago, then I can blame them for things snack bar boys did in the last 200. So I'm much more reasonable than Humza. I don't want to some sort of blood libel against them from 1,000 years. I'm just having to go at them for the last 250. All right? Easy. I'm much more reasonable than Humza. And the last one I want to get to, because where is it? It's truly... Oh, here we are, look. We'll finish on this. First of all, it's painfully unfunny. He expects a big laugh from the crowd and they don't laugh because he's not very funny. And second of all, well, I'll discuss the logic behind it. This is Russell Howard talking about Irish Americans.
You've got a soft spot for Ireland.
I love it.
You love Dublin.
But it's everything about this place. It's the people, the pubs, the music, the crack, the atmosphere, the energy, the buildings. The only thing that ruins it are Americans. That is the only thing, isn't it?
I'm Irish. Look at me. I'm acting the maggot. It's my husband Chad. I'm gonna write the whole off him.
He's like, you're not Irish. You're wearing a bomb bag and you're holding a leprechaun that was sold to you by a man who is Irish. Just turn the volume down. They don't know that we're hated. At least the Brits know.
Yeah, well, the weird thing about that is, right, and I'm having a pop with the Irish again. The weird thing about that is, all the woke Irish, they despise the Americans. And the Americans, bless them, are just enthusiastic about their homeland, their ancestors. So yeah, when they say I'm Irish, they don't mean I'm actually Irish. They're American and they're proud to be American, but they're proud of their ancestors. And what I find fascinating is it's fine to dislike. Hate's too strong of a word. It's fine to dislike the plastic paddies that over-egg the pudding. But what I hate about it is they slag off the plastic paddies who actually love Ireland, fly all the way to Ireland, loudly tell everyone how much they love Ireland, and spend all of the dollars in Ireland, and they despise them for it. But you know who they're like? 250,000 Somalians who they've just moved in. Helen McKenty moving in 200,000 Bangladeshis and Pakistanis, and they'll sit there with a straight face and go, the Yanks, yeah. Plastic paddy, piss off, go back to your own country. Welcome, Ungu Bungu, Ooga Booga, born through your nose, 12 brass rings round your neck, and a 12 inches on the slack, desperate to introduce it to some Irish girl, whether she wants it or not. Welcome them in. Welcome them in. Let's get back to slagging off the Americans. I mean, is this preposterous? I've seen the fake Ukrainians, by the way, yeah. Ukrainian, black as an Alabama crow. Makes loads of sense. I am from a Ukraine. I am from a Ukraine. Of course you are. Yeah, mega Ukrainian. Oh, yeah, if they're Ukrainian, this blue fella's Ukrainian.
You don't know the way.
Yes, I
Do you know the way?
I know the way.
You have to have Ebola to know the way.
I have Ebola.
Move them in, slag off the Americans. Makes loads of sense. Anyway, we'll call it there. I'll see you all probably on Monday, won't I? Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for all the super chats, and thanks for all the banter as usual. Remember, don't forget, CCTV. If anyone mentions it, if you go to a town hall, if anyone polls you about it, you don't want more CCTV. CCTV is to hammer you for process crimes or littering or, I don't know, whatever's next, swearing in public. And it's to turn the blind eye to the kiddie fiddlers and the surprise sex enthusiasts and the murderers. Doesn't stop any real crime. It's just there to stitch you up. Because it's full-blown anarcho-tyranny. And you all know this is true. It's gone off the deep end, the anarcho-tyranny stuff. They just let the violent criminals go if they're foreign and they smash you because that's what they're doing. So don't support it, all right? And John Platt, hello and good evening. What's Bumsy Eustace? He's making stuff up, claiming that his related cousin rattling ancestors invented everything. They didn't. All right? Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'll see you all soon. Have a good weekend. Toodle pip.